need to have a real discussion about the new 10-star weapons and the 9-star armor. But before we hop into all that, welcome back to your number one stop for PSO2 new Gen 6 gameplay how-tos and everything else in between. And we can't forget about all that jazz. And of course, I do want to give a giant thank you to everybody that is supporting here on YouTube through membership, patreon.com/Macon, as well as subscribing over on twitch.tv/TroyMacon. Thank you, my dudes. And with that, let's go ahead, jump into this, and let's talk about, is this something that you need to be upgrading to, or is it more or less good to just kind of hang on with what you have equipment-wise? So let's go ahead and start off here with the Wegar weapon series here. And of course, we're just looking at the rifle here, but the stats are the same across every single weapon of this series. And of course, if you're interested in getting your hands on this weapon, there is a few ways to do so. And of course, to start off, you can of course get it from an 85+ combat sector for a Kavaris, as well as fighting an ancient enemy in the Gorge. Can also get it for you. Also, Luna now here to say hi. Cat, are you gonna lay down so we can continue with the video? Or are you here to get emotional support? What's going on, Luna? Also, you can get this as a drop from the Origin Quest of Remnants of Ambition, a Rank 2. And you can also trade in a 3 edition cubes that you can go ahead and farm through a few ways. The obvious, easier way to get your hands on these cubes is, of course, by taking part in the Gorge and, of course, fighting the ancient enemies down there, which, once again, can also give you the drop as well. But let's go ahead, let's jump into this as far like how well that weapon do stack up. Since I know a lot of you are kind of curious to see how they're going to shake out, especially with the drop weight on the weapon being a little more easier. And on top of that, if you can get the item to drop, you also have a chance to get a fixer on it as well. And when you trade in the cubes and the orbs, there is no effect on that. So ideally, you do want it to drop from any of the enemy or quests that we mentioned. But any without affixing on, how do it exactly stack up to, of course, the Fugal series? So the Fugal series is, of course, pretty much been like quote-unquote in-game weapon for a little bit now. And also was a little more harder to come by for my own personal experience. As someone who still haven't got a Fugal, was able to get my hands on We All series a lot easier. Once again, RNG, well, we all know how Sega is with RNG, so take that as you will on that. But from my experience, they do seem easier to get from drop. But nonetheless, for the Fugal weapon, outside of the headache to get your hands on one of these, also, we can't forget these things are still fairly pricey, at least on ship 1 anyway. And of course, with the Fugal weapon, you are looking at, of course, capping out in mat damage, so that will be plus 80 before augmenting. Of course, is 1094 damage output. And of course, as far as potential or concern heal, we do have, of course, starting at level 1, being a potency plus 23% to all ally receive support effect for 120 seconds after using a proton blast that support effect stacking, and of course capping out with that same time limit, but at level 6 potency potential being a potency of plus 37, which is really good when it comes to the weapon series as is. But when it comes to the actual stats on the brand new 10-star weapons, we are going to be capping out at plus 80 with, of course, a 1098 fate damage. So only a 4-point damage upgrade here, which in return by default is better than Fugal weapons, which also might make it a little more appealing because, once again, this is not accounting affixes on top of that. And of course, being a lot more easier to come by. But with that being said, though, we need to go ahead and look at its potential, with a court level 1 being a potency of 21%, PA and tech potency plus 5, with PP consumption plus 10. So this is actually going to be doing 3 different things here for your character. And of course, at level 6, capping out with a potency of plus 36 a PA. So once again, we go from 21% to 36%. And the Fugal going from 23 to 37. 7. So a little bit extra heal when it comes to a potential. Is it enough to make it worthwhile? Because also you gotta keep in mind this is, of course, after you do your Proton Blast, and it will give you, what, I think 2-minute roughly of extra bonus to your team. So obviously, if you are playing more in a team aspect and you taking advantage of your Proton Blast, it could be a little more useful for your team. But with that being said, if you're playing with people that are using a technique more often and PA more often, this is something that, honestly, I feel like it's a little more useful, at least in the long term, when doing party composition, instead of having it exclusively locked to your Proton Blast. And of course, if you want a little more breakdown how to stack up against the last few weapons, here you a full list of how that actually break down. And also, this is a level of 75 weapon. So if you're looking for a weapon over level 75, you are stuck with one of the 2 weapons to heal exclusively for that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and look at the new armor and see how they actually stack up. So for the armor themselves, there is a more variety of armor here, unlike weapon. Since we do got 6 brand new armor set that is designed for level 81. And of course, with that being said, these are our new in-game equipment to get your hands on here. And of course, there is a little bit of distance. So before we start breaking down the details of all that, the thing to keep in mind here at max enhancing, of course, we have a armor going from 125 all the way up to 126. With 3 armor being 126, 3 armor being 125. But of course, when it comes to armor, not only a defense matter, is also what are the base stats for actual, like, enhancing, and what you're going to get here when you're equipping them depending on a melee, range, or magic user. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's go ahead and start off with Anita armor here, and of course you can get your hands on it through Cabal at plus 85. A battle sector taking on Ancients at 85 plus, and of course Remnant and Ambition are ranked 2, so pretty much the same as the new weapon itself. But of course, getting into it once again at map plus 80, you're looking at 125. But what truly matters is starting to get into some of the extra stats. Let's go ahead and start off with a core HP is a plus 22, PP will get it a plus 2, and then melee, range, and tech is a plus 5.5% to potency, as well as a 20% to freeze, which in return it might be the armor you might go after here to visit some of the cold elements you might have been seeing floating around. So overall, obviously, this heal is like leaning a little bit more into the AP side, with of course everything else being pretty much the same across the board, which in return, some of the other armors here, I think it's personally a little bit better. But with that, let's get on to the next one. So let's talk about Vita. Same drops apply here for where you can get it. And of course, all the stats are roughly the same here. The main difference here for that weapon you will be noticing is, of course, you're going to be trading out your PP for extra 10 to HP. So if you're looking for a little extra HP, this is something you might want to look at. And then we have Vio, which is, of course, at this point, you are losing the HP, but you are getting a plus 6 to a PP. So a little bit of a trade-off there. Honestly, I feel like this is probably one of the more less desirable. Maybe it's just me. Let me know in the comment. But the whole PP over HP, it kind of, I get a trade-off depending on what type of player you are. And if you want the plus 6, it might be one to go after. But now when we start getting into some of the more interesting armor, and also the little more restricted armor as far as how you can get your hands on these, since these are going to be gotten from the limited time quest that is happening right now inside of PSO2. And in return, they make these a little more desirable, not only because we finally start getting some bonuses in some other categories or other parts of the stats, but also this is when we're going to start leaning very much into specific playstyle between range, close-up, and magic here. So to start off here, of course, we still got our plus 5.5% to potency, but this time there was no tech tied to it. as well as the HP, PP, and WES all going uphill, with HP being plus 35, PP plus 7, and WES a plus 1 heal. And of course, this is also when we start getting 126 at plus 80. So, one extra defense heal. But to be honest here, when coming to specifically this weapon here, we are mainly looking for it in the stat of AP, PP, and WES. And of course, we still got 20% to freeze as well. And then we have Belter. That one is, of course, roughly the same when it comes to the stat AP, PP, and WES, with being 35, 7, and 1. But this time, when it comes to, of course, the actual combat potency, this only have the bonuses of Fort Range and Tech at plus 5.5%. So this one is probably a little more interesting and for any of us that do range or do magic. So that one might be a little ideal for you to get your hands on. But if you're someone who mainly play melee and magic, that one also might be for you. Once again, the 5.5% is heal for melee and tech, but not for range. So if you're looking for, of course, a armor that is more for melee and range, maybe a Shiza will be for you. And that is how the new weapon armors are breaking down. Personally, obviously, as someone who play, of course, Ranger as my main, obviously, I'm going to be going for my Belter armor. And of course, for my main rifle, obviously, I got my hands already on a Rhea, so always going to be putting towards that, since I do have a Fix 4 on that, thanks to a drop. But nonetheless, here, that is just a breakdown of where you can find the items, and of course, what they would start out with at bait stat. So you all know if that's something you want to go farm for, might it be in the limited time quests, or by taking part in the Gorge, or just fighting the Ancient and Dread down in that area. Let me know in the comment below if any one of these you're going to go for, or are you just going to stick with what you already got, since I know they're not that big of a jump by any means in power when it comes to this stuff. But hey, if it's more stuff you want to farm or try to unlock, you can have at it right now. But just know, overall, probably could be made up from augments or by using your old stuff that you already have, especially if you already had the weapon series and armor series before this. But you know, eat your own, and let me know in the comment how the hunt coming, or you ain't gonna bother trying to get it. Once again, Sega RNG, it's Sega RNG. But with that being said, I think that's gonna go ahead and do it for me for today, a PSO2 video. I'll be back tomorrow for any more PSO2 goodness. Also, do not forget that we are now streaming here on YouTube as well as Twitch and TikTok as well. And of course, them streams will be happening as soon as my sleep schedule is fixed, starting around 7 p.m. Central Standard. Right now, it's a little all over the place at the time of this video because my sleep schedule is screwed up because reasons I get insomnia. Well, that mainly why it's screwed up. But nonetheless, of course, hopefully I will see you over there on these streams. And of course, come check us out because we are playing PSO2 on Wednesday, Monster Hunters on Friday, and then on Monday and Tuesday playing whatever game chat had pretty much put me into playing by shoving bits and dollar bills at my head. So, of course, right now we're going through Final Fantasy V in the live stream. So be sure to come over, say hi, and of course, I bet a lot of PSO ranting no matter what we all playing. But with all that being said, hopefully I will see you all in the comment. Make sure to thumbs up, hit all the bells and whatnot. And till next time, I will see you in the comments.